Good morning. It is 9 o'clock. We are going to begin the Lyon County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Thursday, December 5th, 2024. Today's agenda, action will be taken on all items unless otherwise noted. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. To avoid meeting disruptions, please place cell phones and beepers in the silent mode or turn them off during the meeting. The board reserves the right to take items in a different order to accomplish business in the most efficient manner. Items may be combined for consideration and items may be pulled or removed from the agenda at any time. Restrictions on comments by the general public. Any such restriction must be reasonable and may restrict the time, place, and manner of the comments, but may not restrict comments based upon viewpoint. The Board of County Commissioners convene as other boards. Members of the Board of County Commissioners also serve as the Liquor Board, Central Lyon Vector Control District Board, Mason Valley Mosquito Abatement District Board, Walker River Weed Control District Board, Willow Creek General Improvement District Board, the Silver Springs General Improvement District Board, and during this meeting may convene as any of those boards as indicated on this or a separately posted agenda. Also, this meeting may break between 11:30 and 1:30 for lunch. We will break at 10:30. We have a closed session at that time. Roll call today. We have Commissioner Jacobson, Commissioner Henderson, Commissioner Hendricks, Commissioner Hockaday in chambers. Commissioner Keller is at a meeting for National Association of Counties in California and is excused for today's meeting. The invocation today will be given by Will Corley of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Please rise.
Our most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we are indeed grateful for this day and the opportunity thou hast blessed us to awake here upon the earth. We're grateful for thy love. We're grateful for this country in which we live, freedoms that are found within our Constitution. Father, we're grateful for the state of Nevada and the county of Lyon. We're grateful for these servants here as commissioners to continually be blessed and pressed upon by thy spirit to conduct the affairs of this county on behalf of the citizens. Father, at this time we ask that thou would bless us that as we go through this month of giving, we ask that we be mindful of those less fortunate. Be blessed by giving as thou hast given unto us. We ask thee to bless this meeting, that it would go well. We ask that thou would bless Mr. Keller as he's away, that safety, that he'll be able to return here to his home. Father, we're grateful for all that thou hast done for us. We're grateful for all that thou will continue to do for us. We ask that thou would bless this county and all that it stands in need. Do so in the humble name, sacred name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Commissioner Anderson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public participation. No action will be taken on any item until it is properly agendized. It's anticipated that public participation will be held at this time, though it may be returned to at any time during the agenda. Citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record will be limited to 3 minutes. The board will conduct public comment after discussion of each agenda action item, but before the board takes any action. Do we have anybody who wants to? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Travis Walker from Wellington, Nevada. A few weeks ago, someone came to me and said, was I aware of a public meeting for the Board of Trustees for the library? I did not know that the Board of Trustees existed, didn't know how they got their position. I couldn't remember voting on that. I was informed that those folks are appointed by the county commissioners to aid our library staff in operating the county public library. Some of the materials that are in our library are troubling to me. I have since learned about the process of asking for those materials to be reviewed and perhaps recalled or taken out of our public library system. But there was an overwhelming attendance at the last meeting because there was a policy recommendation for change to how our library collects the materials and retains the materials that are distributed through the public library system. There was a large group of the public there that was dissatisfied with the current standards that our library has been operating with and would like to have seen some of these changes made. The policy changes were voted down 3-1 in that meeting. But I encourage the Board of Trustees to continue to work together because obviously there is some sort of problem and it has alerted several folks in our community to do that. And so I took the time to educate myself a little bit about some of the issues and some of the books that are being currently offered and the books that could possibly be offered through our county library system. It's my understanding that there is a vacant position that you guys have the opportunity coming before you soon to appoint another person to that position. I would ask that you would take the time to perhaps do some investigation, research as to what the problems are, how the problems might be addressed, how the board, which there appeared to be some very staunch disagreement on the board at that public meeting, how the board could work together to solve some of these issues, and that would be placed on your agenda in a meeting coming up soon. That you take the time to maybe give some guidance to this Board of Trustees and our library staff on how to take steps forward here from here on out. And so I just encourage you to do that. Thank you for letting me speak to you this morning.
Thank you. I see a hand on Zoom for Fred Schroeder.
You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, unmute.
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Fred Schroeder, and I'm a Lyon County resident. I am the father of 3 grown children with families and a grandfather to 6 grandchildren aged 7 months to 12 years old. I'm active in our community and I'm the director of the children's program in Dayton for 2-year-olds through 6th graders. I bring forward to you a deep concern over our library board of trustees and the library collection policy that allows sexually explicit material and books contained within our library, Lyon County libraries. I come before you today to ask you to protect the children of Lyon County while they're in our libraries. I'm asking you to add an agenda item at the next meeting to recall 3 library board trustees and appoint new library board trustees who will replace them, who will adopt policies to protect children from sexually explicit material and ensure the library is a wholesome place for families and children to enjoy. I ask you to place on the next agenda to recall trustees Nora Stevens, Kay Edwards, and Jan Shart. All 3 of them voted against a new book collection policy that was offered that would give specifics in order to keep sexually explicit material out of our libraries. Instead, they voted to adopt an existing policy without adding any revisions to protect children from this material. They voted against adding the new protections in spite of a large crowd of residents who spoke for the new policy, and several, including myself, who read material from books containing this material that are currently available on the shelves or online via the Lyon County Library system. They were not listening to we the people of Lyon County. There were several books read from that meeting. I read one, a young adult book titled Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. This book is available on the shelf in Silver Stage Branch Library and available as an ebook, Kindle, and movie through the library system. This book is basically about 3 teenagers, 2 boys and a girl. The girl happens to be stricken with leukemia, and it's about their relationships. But it is actually a cover for sexual discussion and activities, excessive frequent obscenity, profanity, and derogatory terms. I will spare you here at this meeting with the graphic details, but it is contained throughout this book. It's disgusting, especially for children. This book made it into our libraries under the existing policy and likely was funneled to our libraries via the American Library Association, a leftist operation that is influencing our culture with this type of trap.
Thank you, sir. Your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comment. Do we have any further public comment? Oh.
Thank you for your time. My name is Ted Emmons. I am a father, I'm a grandfather, and I pastor a local church here in Newington. I'm not as educated on this subject as some of the others because I just recently learned about this development and what's gone on. But I have the concern that there is no age restriction on some of these materials that are available. And I think some of the policy changes that were offered to the Board of Trustees of the library would have done something to protect our children from these materials, and it was voted against, which tells me that we can't trust the people who've been put in those positions to protect our youngest, the most vulnerable people in our community. And so I would just ask, and I would second what Travis Walker put up, that an agenda item is added in the future to look at this issue with the library trustees and the policies there. So.
Thank you. Any further comments? If not, I kind of see a Tom Henderson and a Bruce Foster there. I'm not sure if you want to say anything. I see a hand up for Bruce Foster. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just came in late, Bruce Foster for the record, and for our little group here in Washoe County, we've been battling this issue with a very woke library system. And going back, you have to go 60,000 feet above, and you have to take a look at the social contagion that was really created by the World Economic Forum. And I have that information available upon request. And again, as it was mentioned, is that the American Library Association is the president is Emily Trubinsky, and she's self-described Marxist and also a lesbian, and that's their primary goal is to push the LGBTQ trans agenda, which is absolutely rampant, and then recognizing that they push like the top 10 most challenged books of 2023. And I'm not sure how many of these books. I know one was read already, but very familiar with All Boys Aren't Blue. Hopefully that isn't in there. That's about sodomy. And it goes, this book is gay, flamer, sold. Let's talk about it. And many of these particularly are available in the teens section. And we need to recognize that it's all about anti-God and anti-family from the top down. And again, it was promoted during the Obama administration, particularly withdrawing federal funds if they don't pursue the trans ideology within school systems and library systems. And recognizing too, now studies are showing childhood gender dysphoria occurs in less than 0.1%, and 80% of cases resolve with natural puberty. And this is an article that was promoted by Dr. Peter McCullough, MD and PhD. So just really encourage to get an alternative. Brave Books by Kirk Cameron. Do a wonderful, take a look at doing a wonderful book reading with his program, which promotes the faith-based values, helps unite families, and it provides incredible lessons for life with real family values, and it also ignites real imagination. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. See, Mr. Henderson, are you also on for public comment? Okay, you are unmuted. Should be, there you go. You're unmuted.
Good morning. My name is Tom Henderson. I'm a resident of Dayton. I've lived in Nevada 42 years. And I would like to speak to the proposal to construct another casino in our neighborhood in the Sutro subdivision.
Oh, that is our, sir, that is on the agenda. You may speak when we get to that agenda item.
Thank you.
This is just public comment for any other information that you want to bring up that is not on the agenda. So
I see.
remember, you want to talk when we get to that item.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, not seeing anybody else in chambers or on Zoom. We will, what's that? Oh, okay, yes.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak. At the risk of repeating everyone
Excuse me,
Yes.
you need to state your name for the
I'm
record,
sorry.
yeah.
My name is Kathy Lee. I live here in Yarrington, Nevada.
Okay.
Mother and grandmother. Anyway, I just want to urge you to just really consider the policy that has been adopted the last library trustees meeting. And I didn't understand their reasoning, but there was a room full of people to where we were out spilling into the hallways. And everyone there many spoke. Not one person spoke to pass a policy that would not protect children from sexually explicit materials. Various books were read. They were filthy. I would say that a reasonable person would call them pornographic. Certainly not fit for children. And so in spite of all that, and then there was some discussion at the front between the trustees, and it was being made very clear how it was being voted on. And in spite of what everyone in the audience had to say, the community had to say, they went ahead and passed this policy that did not guard children from this kind of material. You know, in our society, we protect children from many things, from drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. There's laws pertaining to children. And one of them is the dissemination of pornographic material to children. And it disgusts me truly that our library, supported by taxpayers, my tax dollars, is disseminating this kind of material to children. And if you could have heard those books, I think you would have been as appalled as I was. And so we're not asking for the moon here. We're asking that there would be some policy passed that would protect children from sexually explicit materials being disseminated by our library, books paid for with tax dollars. And the taxpayers are speaking. And I just ask that you seem like all reasonable people to me, and I just ask that you would give this serious consideration. I don't know the trustees involved. I don't know anything about them. I cannot make, and it's only God's place to make value judgments regarding people. But I think as human beings created in the image of God, we certainly have the capacity to make value judgments on materials that are made available to our children.
Thank you, ma'am.
And so,
Your 3 minutes are up.
oh, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah, if you are going to speak, that makes it easier if you at least come over and be ready to move up as soon as the other speaker has completed their comments.
You have to forgive me, I'm not a public speaker and I
And-
get
and-
nervous when I get before.
And state your name for the record, please.
My name is David Black. I've been a resident of this fine city for 17 years. And I've done a lot with the library. I used to be on the library board in another city before I moved here. And I don't know a lot about this subject, only word of mouth. But it's appalling to me that something like the current material they're allowing in the library is atrocious. And I don't understand it. Good qualities will never offset bad qualities. And if there's any bad qualities in this material, the good qualities that contained therein will never cover it any more than if you put sugar in poison. That won't stop the poison from being deadly. And that's exactly what we've got here, this situation. It's poisonous to the children and to some adults as well. And the library is used mostly by the children. And I've used the library frequently myself, as well as donating. I have donated many, many materials to the library. But this is appalling to me. So thank you for your attention and for your consideration.
Sir.
Good morning. I am Josephine McKenna, and I am a mother, a great grandmother, and a grandmother. And I have been appalled at the things that I heard at the meeting, the American Library Association meeting. I was absolutely could not believe that we parents or anyone could be subjecting our children to the LGBTQ community, to obscene books in our libraries. And as I heard some of the people quote the messages from the libraries, I was absolutely appalled that parents of any parent could possibly accept this as okay. Our children are a gift from God. And when we destroy our children, we have nothing left. That is our future generation that is going to be teaching their children what they have more likely, more possibly heard from adults in their life. And there is just too much information for children, even our teenagers, and what our teenagers are being taught. I've worked on the school PTA boards. I've worked in at the beginning of this in the 60s. I did not know where this was going, but I was on the PTA board. It was a brand new school. They called it Family Life Education. And that's when this started back in the 1960s, 70s, when things were going on. And I have followed this, not knowing that how much obscenity was presented to our children until I started working in schools in Oregon. And I am appalled that any adult of any age could accept this as an acceptable thing in our children's library with no rules that they cannot read it. I am appalled. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Then we will move on from public comment to item 5 for possible action, review and adoption of agenda. As I said earlier, we will have a closed session in approximately 1 hour from starting at 10:30. Do I have any commissioner input to the agenda? Any public input to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll take a motion for item 5 agenda.
Chairman, if I may, I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Jacobson and a second from Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 6, time certain at 9 a.m. We are at 9:27 for presentation only. Update given by Ina Vandervoort, Lyon County Extension County Coordinator, on the program highlights for the University of Nevada, Reno, Lyon County Cooperative Extension over the last 6 months.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Kenya Vandervoort. I am the Lyon County Extension Coordinator, and myself and our 4-H community-based instructor Hillary will just be providing our annual update this morning. So hopefully nothing too serious. Just to start off, background, Extension is research-based education for the community based on our topics here: natural resources, horticulture, agriculture, health, community economic development, and youth and family development. These are in collaboration with communities. So we have partnerships at the federal, state, and local levels to bring those education resources to the communities. So to start us off is going to be Hillary with our 4-H update.
Good morning. My name is Hillary Dashiell. I'm the community-based instructor for Lyon County. I coordinate 4-H throughout the county, and so I'm here to tell you a little bit of what we've done over the past year. We have 182 youth in our organization right now. That does not count any additional kinds of activities that we do, such as within the schools. These are just our 4-H club members. We also have 25 volunteers, and these are the folks that make 4-H possible in our county. So we have been working on getting some additional funding for our 4-H programming. So we have a $7,700 grant from the NRA. This provides us access to shooting sports equipment and activities to promote shooting sports in our county. We have shotgun club, rifles, both air and 22s, and an archery program. We've also expanded our program into Smith Valley. We have a new club starting there for shooting sports. And we've grown the club in Yerington. We have a very strong club in Silver Springs. And that one continues to grow. We're working on efforts in Dayton and Fernley. Mainly what's holding us up there is some adult volunteers. We received a $95,000 micro grant. This grant covered some leadership programming in our county for our kids. So we were able to take them to a convention on leadership, a national convention. Actually, that was just this last weekend. So we paid for 12 youth to attend, and they had a great time. They learned a lot about leadership, and you could see them change while we were there. It was an amazing experience for them. They all were super thrilled, and the grant was part of what allowed them to do that. We also we're going to be providing mental health in our community as a result of this grant. So we're getting some adults trained in a One Circle program. We're also purchasing some curriculum to go along with that programming. And then we had an AmeriCorps volunteer over the summer. So this person allowed us to do additional programming over the summer in some of the Boys and Girls Clubs, particularly in Fernley. So he does an outdoor education with them in addition to some STEM programming. And they helped us with our 4-H camp, which is always popular with our youth in Lyon County. So I talked a little bit about shooting sports earlier. We also participated in the Guardians for Health study. This was a study that's being done nationally with shooting sports youth. They're trying to train up our shooting sports youth to do more intervention peer-to-peer. So when they see situations that might be dangerous within our schools, youth that are exhibiting behavior that maybe is not positive to having access to firearms, or maybe not handling firearms in a very good way. It teaches them what to do in those situations. It also teaches them what to do when they see adults exhibiting the same behavior. So it's a very positive program. We had about 30 youth participate, and we actually had youth who reported youth in one of our Silver Springs schools as exhibiting this kind of behavior and potentially headed off a dangerous situation. So it was actually in practice very worthwhile. We had offered quality assurance to our livestock youth. That is an animal husbandry program. That's where we teach them what's best to do with our future food and our food chain in raising animals. We offer that to all of our youth. We do at least 4 different trainings to the youth in the areas that are raising livestock. We've done some outreach and recruitment. So we do events at libraries. So we held one here locally in Yerington. We also did one in Silver Springs. And then we've had some fundraising and some fun things for youth just to attract more into our program. All of our groups do community service, such as food drives, food banks, donations, angel tree gifts, and Christmas wreaths for veterans. We're going to be moving towards service learning instead of community service. That means it's community service with an educational component so that it teaches them more than just serving our community, but also the education behind some of those services. So for example, the Christmas wreaths at the veterans headstones, they might be doing some actual research into who those veterans were and why they are important in our society for recognition. And I'm going to turn it back over to Kenya to serve sports and educational program.
Great. Okay. So we did have some increase in programming this year, which is really exciting. And one of the things that we are implementing is radon education. So radon is an odorless, tasteless, radioactive, colorful gas that can cause lung cancer. And there's high levels of it in Nevada, specifically in Lyon County. So we do have tests available year round, and we encourage everybody to get their businesses, their homes, wherever they are, tested. We just had to do radon mitigation at our own office. So it is a big deal here as well. And we do have a education session coming up on January 22nd at the library at 6 p.m. So if everybody put that on their calendar. We also have a Master Gardener program, which is part of the horticulture program. And this is a research-based Nevada-specific gardening program. It's composed of 2 parts. There's the home horticulture certificate, which anybody can sign up for, you just want to learn how to garden in your backyard. Then there's the second part of that where there's another class and volunteer hours. And these are students who move forward to become Master Gardener volunteers for the community. So they would be able to answer research-based questions. They would be able to provide feedback to farmers on bugs or sprays or anything like that, and help us with educational events in the community. We have 2 interns that are currently working on the Master Gardener certificate. They do run on a calendar year, so they have until December 31st to meet all of the requirements. We have high hopes for them. And they did things with farmers markets and community gardens and a lot of youth work this year. So that was really exciting. And we have more coming. So we also have a Living with Fire program through Extension, and they offer recommendations to better prepare communities for wildfire threats. This might not be as big of a thing on this end of the county, but they are growing, and they have curriculum that meets high school science requirements, and they are in one of our high schools in the county. So I just want to make you guys aware that they're here now as well. And then just a quick update on the healthy lifestyle education, also known as SNAP Ed. We did not have a SNAP Ed person in our schools this last year. This is a grant-based program. They have been in the prior years, and so I just wanted to provide a quick update. Grant funding was restricted last year, so we didn't have this position, but we have been approved for the grant this coming year. So that position is posted on the UNR website, and we are hoping to get that filled soon so that we can provide healthy education resources again. Yeah, that's what we have for this last year. Any questions?
Commissioners, questions?
No questions. Thank you
Okay.
for the presentation and for what you do.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, thank you for the presentation. And thank you for all you're doing with the youth. You know, the more positive things that we do with youth, the less that guy over there has to deal with them when they grow up.
Yes.
So thank you very
Yes.
much.
Commissioner Jacobson.
Were you pointing at Sheriff Pope or Andy?
Both.
Thank you for the presentation. It was excellent. A couple things. What is the process to mitigate radon?
Oh gosh, I think it depends partly on the structure's framework. From my understanding, because we weren't allowed in the building, so we didn't get to see any of this process. But from my understanding is if it's a crawl space, they have to open up vents, but then also seal and then reroute the gases that are coming up through the floor to go up outside of the building above outside. So that's not very technical. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No, that sounds,
Building for a few months.
yeah, it sounds extensive.
So, yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
And then from curious of these kids that get the Master Gardener,
Those
what adults?
Those
Okay.
adults. I mean, anybody is welcome to do the Master Gardener program, but it is primarily for adults. There's a junior Master Gardener program, which kind of feeds into the 4-H side, but those interns are adults. So they are gentlemen who are in the northern part of the county, and they can pick their project. So if you're doing that, you pick what are you excited about? So what's your passion? One of the gentlemen is a veteran, and he's really passionate about farmers markets. And so he spent a lot of time helping veterans set up a community garden to then be able to have a stand at a farmer's market. So the projects can range, but it's for adults primarily.
Gotcha. And I was just curious because my brother is a master birder through the Audubon Society, and that it was quite arduous as well. So that's very interesting. And I do appreciate, having worked with kids throughout my entire adult life. I do appreciate all that you do. As very fortunate to be in 4-H and a key member, or earned a key award back in day and showed cattle and all that fun stuff. And our livestock were always the wildest. But at any rate, I want to thank you ladies for everything you do. And I appreciate your time here today. I really do value it.
I'd like to add on to that, very beneficial programs. Guys do terrific for the community, and I appreciate that. You're hard at work and making sure the kids are on the right track. And that's really important to us. So thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to item 7, presentation of awards and a recognition of accomplishments. I'm not sure if we have anybody coming up to do that. If not, we'll move on to item number 8, commissioners and county manager reports. I'll start with Commissioner Jacobson.
Thank you, Chairman Hockaday. I appreciate that. Not a whole lot for me, with Thanksgiving. It seemed like I was busy doing something every day, and I don't know if I got anything done, but I did have a great meeting with our new Lyon County Fire Chief, Brian Bunn. And that was a couple hours that was very well spent. North Lyon is in a bit of a mess, as we all realized here a few months ago. And from what I could see, Chief Bunn is doing a great job of turning that around, both internally and fiscally. So it needed an overhaul, and it sounds like he's doing a fantastic job. And during the agenda requests, I will be requesting that he come speak to us in the second meeting in January. So you'll all get a chance to meet him further. I know he spoke just briefly on the batteries and the hazards with that, but didn't really get a great chance to meet him, and so that will be forthcoming. Other than that, that's all I have, sir.
Oh, thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really don't have much to report with the holidays and me winding things down. But I do just want to comment that it's good to see Sheriff Pope back here, and we're glad you recovered. That was scary. And I saw the car, so it was scary. But that's it.
Commissioner Hendricks.
I attended the NACO Public Lands and Natural Resources Board meeting, the NACO Board of Directors meeting, the Comstock Historical District Commission meeting, and we approved plans for a new Story County K-8 school. And last night I attended the Dayton Advisory Board.
Okay. One nice thing about the end of the month is that there aren't a lot of meetings. I did attend the beginning of December meeting for the Parks Board in Smith Valley. So that was about that, other than the nice time for Thanksgiving. So we'll move on to our county manager.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So I, like you, don't have a whole lot to report in my county manager report today. I did want to just throw out a reminder that we are still looking for somebody to fill a seat on the Central Lyon Vector Control Board. That seat's been vacant for a while, so really like to get a 5th person on that board. And then at the next board meeting, we'll be reviewing applications for the Planning Commission. So if there's anybody that is still interested in submitting an application for that, we are still accepting them for that meeting. That's pretty much all I've got.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Where does the Vector Control Board meet?
Oh, excellent question. It meets in Stagecoach, the community center there.
Okay. Thanks. All right, we will move on to item 9, elected official reports. Have the assessor coming up, and we'll He beat the sheriff over.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty quick.
Troy Lyons, Lyon County Assessor for the record. Chairman Hockaday brought up a good question to me this morning. I just wanted to give a little information on a consent agenda item that comes before you, usually each agenda. And it has to do with the approving the changes to the assessor's tax roll due to corrections and assessments and review of the tax roll changes. So typically what you'll see is the secured and unsecured corrections. I just want to give you a little information about that. The secured corrections usually apply to disabled veterans that have forgot to or sent in their paperwork a little late. So we make accommodations for them to make sure that that exemption gets applied to their accounts. And so when their tax bill comes around, that gives them some help there. So that's mostly on the secured side of it. And some of it on the secured side has a little bit to do with the tax abatement. But the unsecured side usually has to do with businesses that have closed and we just haven't been informed. So we just close those accounts out. So I just wanted you to understand what you're signing off on the consent agenda. It was a really good question. I know initially when a few of you had come on board, I did give a presentation at that time, but it's been a while. So other than that, if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions? No, sir. Thank you. Appreciate the explanation on all that. And now we'll have the sheriff.
Morning, Lyon County Sheriff Brad Pope for the record. I kind of want to give you an update on what's going on with all our community events over the next few weeks that the sheriff's office is participating in. On Saturday, we got the Fernley Christmas Parade. We'll be up front in that. Which also culminates with Cocoa with a Cop at City Hall. So we'll be doing that. There's a small town Christmas in Dayton that same night. And then next Friday, we have our shop with the sheriff. It's our main charity event throughout the year. With 41 kids that we're taking, and we have 10 on the wait list. We didn't quite meet our fundraising goal, but we do have enough funds to cover the event. So if we can get some of those kids off the wait list, we're gonna try. But we already purchased our gift cards and we're ready to go. On this Saturday, we'll also be attending the Wreaths Across America at the Fernley Veteran Cemetery. We'll honor as many veterans as we can by putting a wreath on their grave, and also some of our past employees at the sheriff's office that are laid to rest there as well. And then that Saturday we have the parade in Yerington, right? So the small town Christmas. So this is our busiest month for community events. Sure, there's probably about 10 that I left off that list, but those are the major ones. Hiring continues to go well. Right now, we're down to 2 vacant positions. And those positions are slotted right now to be filled with deputies that are already Category 1 certified. So we won't need an academy. Their training will be quick. They'll be out on the road. And once we fill those 2 spots, we should have a hiring list of at least 10. And we're going to continue to aggressively recruit and continue monthly testing and continue expanding on that hiring list. So we're looking at the last commissioners meeting in January to present our year-end report for the 2025 calendar year. So just give you a heads up on that that'll be coming. And that's all I got. Appreciate the wishes. I didn't see the horse coming. She didn't see me coming, and both hit each other. So brand new Tahoe, total problem. I apologize for that. But yeah, just a little slow. So.
Any questions for the sheriff? Just glad you're here. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
Yep. Any other elected official reports? I had one comment that reading through the Canal Township Justice Court report, it's really sad when in a 4-month period, you have about 170 summary evictions. go through the court and I noticed we had about 130 credit card collection cases. So I'm really hoping that 2025 helps out our economy a little bit more so that we don't have so many people being thrown out of their places of where they're living and not being able to pay their credit cards. So that was very interesting statistics that we read through, and we get that, of course, every meeting. So let's move on to item 10, appointed official reports. Nobody's jumping up. Pretty quiet then. We'll go ahead and move on to advisory board reports. Seeing nobody on Zoom and nobody in here, we'll move on to item 12, consent agenda. Today we have item 12A through 12N. Do we have any commissioner requests for pulling items? Any public requests for items to be discussed? If not, I'll look for a motion for items 12A through 12N.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda items 12A through 12N as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson and a second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Moving to the regular agenda. Item 13A for possible action to approve the request from Dayton Village LLC for a conditional use permit for non-restricted gaming on land subject to CC, which is community commercial zoning located at 2 Dayton Village Parkway in Dayton on an approximately 1.09 acre parcel APN 016-403-48 PLZ 2024-046. Staff report.
One second. Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. Lisa Nash, Senior Planner. I'm here today to talk about the Dayton Village LLC, CUP, more commonly known for Dottie's Casino. So the site is located adjacent to the existing grocery outlet in Dayton, and access is via existing entrances from Highway 50 and Dayton Village Parkway. It is right outside the entrance to the subdivision behind that. There is also a McDonald's and a coffee place in this development. It's been ongoing, and this is the last piece of property to be developed within this section, this commercial. So you can see here where it is in resistance. The existing building is the grocery outlet. It is off to the right. And I included the landscape plan on the right-hand side so you could see where they plan to landscape around the parking. It will improve what's been an open vacant lot for quite a while as all this development's been going on. And it will definitely add a visual break to the buildings that are already there. Here's also a couple pictures. It's a standard Dottie, so you see them frequently throughout the part of northern Nevada, and it's right in line with all the others. So per Title 15, the use of non-restricted gaming within a commercial district requires applicants to obtain a conditional use permit and have a public hearing. The parcel is within the suburban character district of Dayton, and the land use designation for the property is commercial. It is zone C2, which is general commercial district under Title 10, which means it is subject to CC community commercial zoning for Title 15 development code. In addition, an administrative design review has been submitted and is reviewed for the project. So after this hearing, if it is approved, we will go ahead and start reviewing the administrative design review, which will review in more details the actual construction. So, and I'll just say it will be subject to any conditions required for water and sewer, depending on what's going on.
So this shows the zoning in the area. It is directly surrounded by community commercial, and then off to the west is multifamily residential. And to the north is single family residential. It is one lot off of the Highway 50 corridor within that commercial development. So chapter 15 through 3006 of code requires that we address the findings and the Board of Commissioners to consider when reviewing a conditional use permit. Here's some of the highlights. We do feel they are consistent with the master plan's intent and uses for land, and within the designation of commercial within the suburban character district. The applicant is going to be responsible for meeting all the conditions required in the CUP, as well as conditions in terms of a future ADR. This is approved. All those conditions will be, further reviewed in order to get building permits and to move forward. This is the last lot being developed within that Dayton Valley commercial development. Traffic studies, utility stubs are already in. Impacts on the surrounding areas were reviewed as development has occurred along the way. And we do not feel this use increases the planned density that was promoted or proposed when they first came forward with this development. I also feel the proposed landscaping will provide screening and improvements to the area in general, screening off the commercial area from the more residential. And the last condition, it has changed since the pause has been removed, but I did leave it in there in order that if anything happens with the sewer capability or capacity, the county cannot issue something or allow occupancy until the sewer service is provided by Lyon County, just so it's clear. At the November 12th Planning Commission, it was approved unanimously to forward a recommendation approval to this board. And subject to the recommended conditions of approval, staff feels we are able to recommend approval of the conditional use permit. And I am available for questions, as is the applicant.
Questions, Commissioner Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could you go back to the map that shows the lots?
Yep. Hopefully I didn't go too far.
No, actually one
Oh,
more.
one more. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Sorry.
So the question is, you're saying that is the last lot that's going to be developed. What about the two lots to the east?
I believe those are different. No, they're not part of this 4-lot development.
Okay,
that's
but
going.
those could still be developed.
Those could still be
Okay,
developed, but I'm just talking, sorry, about the Dayton commercial that they came in with those 4 lots.
Okay, and then these lots have been zoned for commercial since Title 10?
Yes,
Okay.
they've been C1 or C2 for a very long time.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay. Commissioner Hendricks.
Did this go before the Dayton Advisory Board, and what was their recommendation?
We did not receive any comment from the Dayton Advisory Board, so I don't know.
Okay.
All right. No further comments or questions or do you have one?
No, I just know there'll be some public comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna request public comment then. Public input. Okay, have Mr. Henderson now. You are unmuted. Go ahead.
Oh, good morning. The 3-minute time limit is still in effect.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll set my clock. My name is Tom Henderson. I live in Dayton. I decided to get up out of my chair and find out what the gaming activity and inventory was in Dayton. There are 5 casinos, which have a total of 594 slot machines. There are an additional 6 or 8 convenience stores that offer an additional 50 slots. So in getting up out of my chair, I went and spoke to 30 of my neighbors in the Sutro subdivision. Of those, 19 expressed opposition to the siting of a casino in our neighborhood. I did not include myself in that count, and I did not include any spouses, so there was only one signature for each address. It is likely that the planning staff or the planning commission were not aware of this opposition, as there was no notice sent of the planning commission action to my knowledge, or at least I didn't receive notice of the planning commission action. I hear now that there was no input from the citizen advisory board either. There were some 50 notices of this meeting sent to my near neighbors. Of those, 27 were outside of Dayton, and 13 of those notices went outside of Nevada, suggesting that landlords or property owners that were outside of Nevada received notice. But the folks on Sweetwater Drive and Nightingale Drive, which are multifamily units, apparently did not receive notice. And there would have been at least 50 households within 300 feet that probably did not receive notice. In regards to the findings the commission must make in the staff planning report, items finding number B relating to compatibility and integrity with the character of these adjoining neighborhood, and finding G, which has to do with public health, safety, and welfare. I think those findings cannot be made by this commission. Fortune Drive is the gateway to the Sutro subdivision. The impacts we anticipate would be an addition to criminal activity related to drug and alcohol use, and a possible effect on housing values in the Sutro neighborhood. I recommend
So your 3 minutes are up. Thank you.
Can I give my recommendations?
All right. Any further comments from public? All right. Seeing none, then we have an item here for a motion. Yes. Oh, Commissioner Henderson,
I didn't
did you say? Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to say something.
turn the timer off.
Okay, right. Just saw the motion. So I'm looking for a motion on 13A. Anybody, Commissioner
I'll do it.
Hendricks?
Based on findings A through G and subject to conditions of approval 1 through 9, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approves the request from Dayton Village LLC for a conditional use permit to allow non-restricted gaming on land subject to community commercial CC zoning generally located at 2 Dayton Village Parkway in Dayton on approximately 1.09 acres parcel APN 016-403-48 PLZ 2024-046.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Motion by Commissioner Hendricks and a second by Commissioner Henderson. Commissioners, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion passes 4-0. 13B for possible action to approve the request from Carol O'Banion for a master plan amendment to change the designation from agriculture to rural residential on approximately 57.16 acre parcel located at 299 Upper Colony Road in Smith Valley, APN 010-26, or I'm sorry, 261-16, PLZ 2024-047. Staff report.
Good morning again. All right, so today, we will have 2 presentations on this. They're asking for a master plan amendment followed by a zoning map amendment. So I have set them up separately as their separate votes, so we'll start with that. Give me just a second. So the applicants requesting the master plan amendment to change the designation from agriculture to rural residential on a parcel totaling 56.16 acres in Smith Valley. The stated future intent of the proposed ZMA is to change the or master plan amendment, actually, let's start that over. The proposed intent is after they receive the zoning map amendment, if they do, is to change the parcel from RR5 to RR10 for future rural residential development. The property is located at 299 Upper Colony Road in Smith Valley. You can see on the left-hand side some of the topography. It's up against the mountains over there, and it's on the downhill side. The map on the right shows some old ponds or old fisher hatchery ponds that were there, and I thought that was good to see because it does apply into why they're asking for this. So, the strong and rocky slopes on the east side of the west side of the property are. I have that backwards again. I do this all the time. I apologize. The slopes on the west side are rocky and pretty steep, and they slope down to relatively flat topography on the east. So the existing master plan is agriculture. The applicant is asking for a change to rural residential. As shown on the maps above, the properties to the north are rural residential surrounding agriculture, as seen in clusters of other RR rural residential areas in this portion of the county. This just shows really quickly where they want to change from the RR20 to or RR5 in Title 10 to RR10 in Title 15, and we'll get into that more in the next application. So Chapter 15 to 1003 lists the findings that the board needs to consider when approving this, and they're listed below. Here's a quick highlight. We do feel that these findings and this application is consistent with master plan policy supportive of agriculture and rural residential growth patterns, specifically within the Smith Valley community. We do feel it's compatible with existing adjacent developments, which are actually a little smaller in size, 5 to 7 acres, and they're ultimately proposing 10-acre properties. We feel it's responsive to the conditions of finding C because that property itself is not conducive to farming, and this would be more aligned with the adjoining residential properties. Additionally, this continues the development pattern that is already in existence to the north. It doesn't introduce a new or incompatible use to the existing area. And the subject area doesn't have existing water or sewer infrastructure, as do any of the surrounding properties, and so it would not introduce a new need for public services. So at the Planning Commission meeting on November 12th, the application was approved unanimously to forward a recommendation to this board. Here's an example of a recommended motion if you're so inclined, and I am here for questions, as is the applicant.
Questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Follow-up, did this go before the Smith Advisory Board?
Mhm.
It did go before them, so yes, we did receive a response. It should be in your packet.
Okay.
And there was one in opposition. The rest were forwarding a recommendation of approval. And as I understand it, there was a little bit of confusion on the application. The staff report wasn't completed, and questioning, does this set a larger change of a master plan or zone amendment than just this?
Okay.
Yeah, I know we've been doing a lot with drainage and whatnot throughout the county. Is there any drainage issues with changing this to smaller parcels? Is this going to affect anything?
I don't believe it will. If it was going to smaller parcels, I might have more concern, but 10-acre parcels for a single family residential means they should be able to address any drainage concerns. And this is not putting a tremendous amount of impervious surface in. So I feel the density is low enough, and it is actually lower than they could ask for. Or high, it's not allowing them to go as low a density as they could. high density. I said that backwards.
I got you.
Thank you.
Anything further? My concern is always with an amendment to the master plan. Understanding that the master plan was developed by the community, they put a lot of time into the master plan and decided when they met that that area would stay ag. And I'm familiar with the area. I know that it is rocky and it's probably grazing in the past, but again, it is for a minimum of 20-acre parcel. So I have problems with changing the master plan based on the community input from the past. And I base that on the fact that I was on a planning commission in my previous rural county and spent a lot of time with the master plan upgrade. So I just can't see making an amendment to a master plan. That's my opinion, and I'll move on from there. Anything further? Any public input?
Good morning. Leslie Sonnet from Smith Valley. I request that you deny the master plan designation change request. The master plan does take considerable amount of time and effort and community input, as we have talked about before at these meetings. On top of this sort of change is really a slippery slope that could create a dangerous precedent and has the potential to open the door to significantly change the character of Smith Valley. Farming is not the only ag use in the code. There's lots of other ag uses. And I was not able to attend the cab, but I did hear about it. There was definitely confusion. All the information wasn't made available. Makes it difficult to have full community input when all the information isn't available at the community-based meeting. So I would request that you deny the master plan designation change. Thank you.
Any other public input? Oh,
Yeah, good morning. My name is Rick Christian with Denson Surveying. I'm involved on this master plan amendment. Would bring it to your attention that the owner of the land is present. Bring questions directly to her. I would like to address the advisory board meeting. There was some confusion there, quite a bit of confusion, and they were making the assumption that it was going to change a lot of the valley. Okay, they had the misunderstanding that it was just going to be this one particular parcel. This one particular parcel is not even really decent for any kind of grazing purposes because it's all natural vegetation. There's been no pasture grass put in or anything else. It is on a rather steep slope. You know, like Lisa said, the western portion of this is definitely going up the side of that mountain. And I walked up that mountain the other day and it killed me. I'm used to it. I truly believe the highest and best use of this particular land lying west of Upper Colony Road, as it has been shown in the past with all the other residential property, I believe the highest and best use for the land would be for residential usage. So, that's what I have to say.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further in chambers? And I see no hands on Zoom. So I will look for a motion on 13B. Have any? Any motion?
Before we make a motion, I just want to say that it takes a lot to convince me to change the master plan. And I was in on the process of our last update, and Smith Valley was very loud and clear on what they want to see. And so I'm not going to be able to vote for this. For that reason, I don't believe it meets finding D.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make a comment too. I have problems with this. I know over the time that I've been on this commission that, Smith Valley residents have been very vocal in wanting to keep that part of the county in agriculture. And I don't think I can support this either. So that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Anything? Yeah, no. Not going to have a motion on 13B, so 13B will,
I'll make a motion.
oh, go ahead. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I move that we deny the request from Carol O'Bannon for a master plan amendment to change the designation from agriculture to rural residential on approximately 57.16 acre parcel located at 299 Upper Colony Road, Smith Valley, APN 010-261-16, PLZ 2024-47.
Do I have?
Second.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And
Could we have a restatement of the reason for denial to have that with the motion, please?
Reason for denial.
What was the condition?
Finding the.
The condition, the reason is that we don't believe that finding D was met.
Thank you.
I saw the district attorney stand up. Mr. Oh, okay. So that's, you're leaving it to her comment then. All right. So we're good on that then. Do I have a second? Or you second?
I
Yeah.
second it.
Commissioner Hendricks seconded. So I have a motion by Commissioner Hendricks or Henderson and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion to deny would be 4-0. So with that, 13C will be moot point.
No,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we still have to hear 13C. It just changes the
Still have to
presentation.
hear it, even though it's not possible to break it into 10-acre parcels. All right, go ahead, then we'll go ahead for, yeah, yeah. It's for possible action to approve the request from Carol O'Banion for a zoning map amendment to change the designation from RR5, 5th Rural Residential District 20 acres to rural RR10, rural residential 10-acre minimum on an approximately 57.16 acre parcel located at 299 Upper Colony Road in Smith Valley, APN 010-261-16, PLZ 2024-048. Okay,
This one's pretty simple. Staff is changing their recommendation to a recommendation of denial by the commission based on the not meeting the appropriate master plan amendment to change to this category of zoning. And that's my entire presentation.
okay. So with that, I think 13C would, I think we need to have a motion on that. do we?
probably still need public comment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Public comment on that. But any commissioner comment first? Public comment. Seeing none. At that point, I guess we have a motion to deny that.
Based on findings A through C, I move that the Board of County Commissioners deny the request to Carol O'Banion for a zoning map amendment to amend the zoning map designation from the Title 10 district of RR5, 5th Rural Residential District 20 acres to the Title 15 district of RR10 Rural Residential 10-acre minimum on an approximately 57.16 acre parcel located at 299 Upper Colony Road in Smith Valley, APN 010-261-16, PLZ 2024-048.
Second.
I have a question.
A question, go ahead.
Before you, was the motion you said based on findings A through C, but it doesn't meet A, correct?
But by the fact that it doesn't meet findings A through C.
In that case, I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hendricks and a second by Commissioner Henderson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and that motion of denial is Pass 4-0. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 14 facilities. We have 10 more minutes before our closed session. For possible action, approve the construction of a gate and concrete walkway for egress and a patio area at the Justice Complex in the amount of $20,326 with funding to come from public safety sales tax. Yeah, any questions? I was just waiting for you to come up, Mr. Homestead. Any questions from commissioners? Any questions from the public?
The only comment I have is just, more money in the Justice Complex.
Mhm.
It's starting to get old.
No other comments? No other public?
I guess,
Go ahead.
when I read through this, I was just curious why this wasn't included when we original or did this.
Doug Homestead, facility director for record. It was, this wasn't included in, but what satisfied the exit requirement from the north side of the building through the new public evacuation area is that they could congregate in the secured parking that the judges used to use for justice court. We could paint off an area in there, but I, being a firefighter for 39 years, I didn't think it was right to have citizens locked in a gated area. There's no man gate to get out of that area, so we're doing this outside the contract. It's less money that way. And it just improves that part of the exit corridor. And then on the south side, where we're gonna put some concrete too, it's right now you come out of the upstairs exit and you exit onto a sidewalk, but then to get across, you have to go through dirt. I want to make a straight sidewalk going across that. And then what we're doing, we're putting a little area where we can put a little gazebo like I did at the sheriff's office in Silver Springs, where they can sit out there under the shade and have their lunch or whatever.
That helps. Thank you.
Okay. Any other input? If not, I'll look for a motion on 14A.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the construction of a gate and concrete walkways for egress and a patio area at the Justice Complex in the amount of $20,326 with funding to come from the public safety sales tax.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, can we take a break now?
We're gonna be going on a closed session in 7 minutes. Okay, we'll take a break now. Okay. All right, we'll take a 7-minute break. And we'll go into a closed session at 10:30. And we'll be back after that closed session. 10:23, taking a break. It's 10:48, and we are going to reconvene. Been requested that since we did have the closed session, that I read in the closed session information for the record as to why we broke and went to closed session. Closed session is pursuant to Nevada Revised Statute 241.015, parentheses 3, parentheses B, parentheses 2, to receive information from the district attorney or counsel regarding potential or existing litigation involving a matter over which the board has supervision, control, jurisdiction, or advisory power, and to deliberate toward a decision on that matter and pursuant to NRS 288.220 to receive a report on the status of ongoing labor negotiations and direct staff accordingly. That is why we took our closed break, and we are now back in session at 10:48. So next item will be, find my paperwork here. Item 15B for possible action. Approve a no-cost amendment to the Highway 50 sewer replacement. What's that?
I don't believe we've done 15A yet.
Back to the other page.
I thought we did that when I drew a line. Oh, here it is. Okay, yep. Yep, 15A, sorry about that. For possible action, approve a contract with Osesi Waste Services for an amount not to exceed $99,990 for biosolids hauling services from the Rolling A wastewater treatment plant to the Lockwood and Carson City landfills.
Chairman Hockaday, Commissioners, David Burkett for the record. This is an annual contract we do for the hauling of our biosolids from the wastewater treatment plant to the landfill. It would start January 1st, go through December 31st, 2025. We reached out to 3 different companies: Walker Lake Disposal, Osesi Waste Services, and Waste Management. 2 of them gave us quotes on it, and Osesi was the lowest responsive and responsible, not bidder, but for the quote for this. So we recommend that we do the contract with Osesi this year.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners? Public input? Seeing none, we can go with the motion.
I'll make a motion, Chairman Hockaday, to approve a contract with Osesi Waste Services for an amount not to exceed $99,990 for biosolids hauling services from the Rolling A waste treatment plant to the Lockwood and Carson City landfills.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Should there be a year in that or date, or is that?
Or
We can, it's for our calendar year 25 if you want to add.
Right, I will add if it is for the calendar year 2025.
all right. So the motion was made by Commissioner Jacobson and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Now we get to 15B. Sorry, I drew my line in the wrong spot. For possible action, approve a no-cost amendment to Highway 50 sewer replacement project to extend the contract term to June 30, 2025.
This is a contract extension, David Burkett for the record. This is a contract extension only. A couple meetings ago, the county utilities engineer gave an update on a various project, and we're working out some details with NDOT still on this. Part of that sewer line that runs, we need an encroachment permit that runs in front of Dayton Valley Road off of Highway 50. We're still working out the details with NDOT, so we need an extension of time for this contract to get all those details worked out. So this is an extension of time.
Okay, any questions? Public input?
I guess
Yes.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Is this NDOT Dragon feed or is this legit?
Not sure how to answer that.
Yes, no.
Yes, no, it's part of the process. We have to go through the details and we have to get an encroachment permit from them, and we just have not gotten the encroachment permit yet.
Do they prioritize stuff like this, or is it on the checklist? I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So we're trying to work out an issue with NDOT, and I have raised this up to the director level at NDOT. There's a section of pipe that we have to replace that crosses the intersection of Dayton Valley Road and Highway 50. And now obviously, because we don't have a second bridge yet in Dayton, closing Dayton Valley Road is not an option. And so operationally that becomes kind of an issue. So we're trying to work that out with NDOT so that we don't have to, do too much work around that.
And this was discussed at a previous meeting, right?
Yeah.
But so I think we're all aware of that. It just that was at a previous meeting, and we're still hearing that where this hasn't been.
Yes, I believe Mr. Burkett had followed up a few weeks ago, and they said they were still working through it. So that's where we're at with it.
Okay, any questions? Or County manager? All right. Didn't have any public input, so we will go ahead and go for a motion on this item.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve a no-cost amendment to the Highway 50 sewer replacement project to extend the contract term to June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, a second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to Human Services, Dr. Holmes. And 16A for presentation only, presentation of the fiscal year 23-24 annual report by Lyon County Human Services.
The paper. Good morning, Dr. Shayla Holmes, Director, Lyon County Human Services. For the record, I'm going to be presenting our annual report for the Human Services Department. This is for FY24. So for us, that's July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, and the outputs and outcomes and finances of what happened last year. Every year I try to figure out a way for us to be able to make this happen sooner and closer to the end of that year, but closing out grants, finalizing reports, getting fiscal numbers all reconciled. For some reason, I just can't seem to make it happen earlier than December, but I will continue to try. So with that, I want to start with taking a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible staff of the Human Services Department. It's their dedication, compassion, and tireless efforts that truly make a difference in the lives of so many of our community members, as seen through the output measures presented in this report. Whether it's supporting families in need, assisting older adults, or helping individuals overcome life's challenges, their work brings hope and dignity to those who need it most. It's because of the staff that do this work that we're able to fulfill our commitment to building a stronger, healthier, and more supportive community. And I appreciate them more than words can say. I can present on the numbers and the data and the funding all day long, but none of it makes anywhere without these folks. And this isn't all of them, but these are the ones that I was able to capture on camera throughout last year. So to start off, as far as our funding goes, this is essentially the same mix that we see every year, slightly more in grants, slightly less in county tax rate. We do still have a tiny amount of ARPA that was in last year. County ARPA has been fully expended. We still have a little bit left in our ARPA award from the city of Fernley. So we are in a heavy push right now to try to get as much of that out to community members as possible. But we expended everything that you guys allocated to us last fiscal year in the county ARPA award to the Human Services Department. In the other category, that's all of our grants. We lump those all together by the division from the state of which they come. Those are up and down a little bit every year. So some go up, some go down, but it is essentially the same percentage funding the Human Services Department via grants. Our administrative services division, so this is our logistical glue. They're the ones that help us with our grant management. They're the ones that are the front office support that you see when you come into any of our buildings. Typically, grants, you're not able to allocate too much to administrative support. That's typically done through what we call an indirect cost rate. You do see tiny percentages put in there, like an example of NDOT, one of our administrative services staff helps schedule rides. So that is a grant allowable activity. And so we take a tiny amount of that grant and put it towards the administrative services staff, but they will always be heavy in county tax rate. The numbers of individuals coming in. So these look slightly less than last year if we were doing a side-by-side comparison. However, this is our first year utilizing the database that we purchased, having everything come through one point. So all of our online referrals, all of our walk-ins, all of our divisions are now being put through one database. So we're able to pull from one data source. So this is really setting a new baseline for us. So while it looks slightly less than last year's numbers were being pulled from different sources. So there is perhaps chance of error. Maybe we are just reducing a little bit. I'm not sure. But it's good baseline data for us to set that. Behavioral health is still an infant for us. We're in year 2 of having a behavioral health division. We were able to start that utilizing our opioid litigation funds. And we've been able to leverage having the right folks in the department with the right credentials behind their name to be able to start expanding those services. There's lots of funding available for behavioral health, but we are growing slow. We want to make sure that whatever we do grow is sustainable. So right now, we've got 3 grants going towards this division. Some from state opioid dollars, so Account for Resilient Nevada, most program, and then the CASAP, which is opioid dollars through the Attorney General's office. And you can see what we're doing there. 1,937 individuals were screened through our universal screener. So that's individuals coming in and us being able to initially identify, are they at risk for a mental illness? Do they need additional mental health support? And that is new to our department because of having the right credentialed folks in. So again, all of these numbers are new to us and baseline. So we'll see how they continue to grow. 301 individuals did receive an assessment through our MOST program, which means they sat down with the clinician and had a full mental health assessment completed, and they were referred to the appropriate level of care from there. The other big thing that's new for us in having this division is having access to a psychiatric APRN. And so 17 individuals last fiscal year received services from that provider, and that provider meets them where they're at. If they're an individual living homeless with mental illness, they're actually going out and doing medication management wherever they're at, if that's Riverside or at their home, wherever that needs to be, to make sure they're getting connected to services. So we're excited to see this grow and see where it takes us. Children's services, we've see significant increases in our family support program. That is the self-referral program. So differential response and parenting classes are about flat for last year. Differential responses that direct referral from the Division of Child and Family Services for low-level DCFS cases. But family support and home visiting, which is our prenatal to age 5, working on parental developmental appropriate parenting and kindergarten readiness. Those 2 programs have seen significant increases. Car seats have seen an increase. WIC is dropping, but that's a national problem with WIC right now. So we are really dedicating our time to outreach and educating the community. It's not just formula, it's not just milk and cheese, it is nutrition education, and it's breastfeeding support, and it's so much more. So we are working with our state and federal partners to continue to find ways to bring participants back into WIC. Adult services, we saw decreases pretty much across the board with the exception of FAST and MOST. FAST is our jail reentry diversion program, and MOST, our mobile outreach safety team. Those have both saw pretty significant increases, but our other indigency support saw a reduction. Is this because we saw a spike from COVID? We did see a significant increase in 2020, 2021, 2022. So maybe this year we're starting to see folks get back down. However, listening to Commissioner Hockaday this morning, perhaps this year we're going to see that uptick again in regards to what that looks like, or maybe hopefully 2 years from now, we plateau and come back down. Senior services is also mostly flat in regards to their congregate and home delivered meals. So those look pretty status quo for us. Though big increases here are our transportation numbers. We've provided over 2,000 rides more than last year. We also nearly doubled our individuals receiving the Nevada Care Connection support, which is individuals who come in either nearing age 60, wanting to prepare for retirement, or individuals older than 60 needing some type of service to help them maintain their life better, be it budget, connection to resources, healthcare, whatever that may be. So those 2 had pretty substantial increases. Public guardianship, I just want to take a second and maybe go on a soapbox here for a moment. There are increases for full guardianship, which is both the person and the estate. There is an increase in existing cases and an increasing in new appointments and a reduction in cases closed. We typically don't close a public guardianship case unless that individual passes. It's mainly older adults. There's a couple younger ones on there as well. All of this work is done by one deputy. I'm there for support, but I'm not fully involved with all of the day-to-day work that it takes to care for these 20 individuals. And then the support, we could not do it without the district attorney's office. They do all of the legal and court work required to make this happen because it is a legal process. But we're pretty much operating at max capacity. So it's not that we're necessarily encouraging folks to pass on, but the only other way for us to be able to see a reduction in this is for us to educate the community and support friends and family on how to become the guardian themselves. That is our ultimate goal, that friends and family become the guardian of their loved ones and that they don't rely on the public guardian to do this work. So we're really working hard this year to try to educate the community and support our community members needing this service so that friends and family can take it on as opposed to being reliant on the county to do the work. Our strategic plans, you guys approved for us to start our next strategic plan. This one ran 2019 to 2024, so we are wrapping it up. The planning for this strategic plan took place pre-COVID. So COVID did impact our ability to work through some of the things we had originally dedicated ourselves to in that original planning process. We were not able to fully implement being trauma informed. That's 3.3. We did start training. However, we started it later than what we had intended to. So we are not fully formed trauma informed agency as we'd hoped to be by now. However, this will most likely carry forward into the next strategic plan. 5.1, our goal was to be able to create a county report card on the pulse of human services throughout the county, not just what we do, but what all of our community partners do as well, and convene an annual meeting with all of our community partners to encourage change and get commitment on who's owning what and where in the community. We were not able to do that at all. So we will see if we continue to believe that human services is the right agency to do that and what comes from that in our next strategic plan. We have been very successful in developing a communications plan. We've made a lot of great strides there, and we were very successful in creating a formal fund development plan and addressing both short-term and long-term funding needs for the department. And with that, I am open for any questions, and thank you for your time.
Questions?
Thank you for the report. I would be interested down the line to see if there's any kind of stats or documentation that shows how the most programs are actually working and their success rates, because I think it's been a good thing that you've added.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. With the implementation of this new database, we're able to track better that progression into different services. So I'm very hopeful we'll be able to show outcomes at that level as well.
Nothing?
Thank you, Chairman Huckabee. Ms. Holmes, Dr. Holmes, you opened the meeting, picture of your staff and sharing. I believe that the old Marine saying, staff morale and mission accomplished go hand in hand, and you have an excellent department. And I just hope that during these holiday seasons, they realize, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but how much we appreciate everything they do for our most vulnerable citizens, our young and our elderly. So thank you very much, and thank your staff.
Well stated, Commissioner Jacobson. I agree with that wholeheartedly, that you guys do a great job here in the county. We appreciate all the work that you do. And you certainly bring in a lot of grants that help you get that work done. That is a lot of work and getting the grants. So thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Next, for possible action on 16B, approve a contract between Lyon County and Angelica Alexander, Lyon County Service Social Worker, in an amount not to exceed $39,252 to provide behavioral health clinician services with the Mobile Outreach Safety Team, most funded through the Nevada Office of the Attorney General Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program Grant Award.
Dr. Shayla Holmes, Director, Lyon County Human Services, for the record. Both this one and the next one is for the same contractor, two different buckets of money, same work. We're excited to bring her on board. She comes to us with a wealth of experience. She is a fully licensed clinical social worker, as opposed to the existing person we have right now does not have that clinical status. So she'd be able to do a lot more of the assessments and be able to aid the program a lot more, be more efficient. So very excited to bring her on, and we think she's very well qualified and will be an excellent part of the team.
Okay. Any commissioners want to ask a question or comment? Public input? If not, I'll look for a motion on 16B.
Chairman Hockaday, I'll make a motion to approve a contract between Lyon County and Angelica Alexander LCSW in an amount not to exceed $39,252 to provide behavioral health clinician services with the mobile outreach safety team, most funded through the Nevada Office of the Attorney General Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program Grant Award.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Okay, we'll go on to 16C for possible action, approve a contract between Lyon County and Angelica Alexander. And I think I said Lyon County, not licensed clinician, social worker, in an amount not to exceed $51,060 to provide behavioral health clinician services with the mobile outreach safety team, most funded through the State of Nevada Health and Human Services Division of Public and Behavioral Health, most grant award.
Again, Dr. Shayla Holmes, Director, Lyon County Human Services for the record. Just like the previous agenda item, it is the same contractor, same credentials, same program, different bucket of money. So my staff prefer to do it as two separate contracts because it helps them keep everything straight. So open for any questions.
All right. Any questions? Public input? Motion, please. Do you want to jump on that one?
Move to approve a contract between Lyon County and Angelica Alexander LCSW in an amount not to exceed $51,060 to provide behavioral health clinician services with a mobile outreach safety team, most funded through the State of Nevada Health and Human Services Division of Public and Behavioral Health, most grant award.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Dr. Holmes. 17, County Manager presentation on the annual rate adjustment report provided by Waste Management per section 6.9 of the current franchise agreement. The increase for 2025 is 3.79% based on the percentage change in the consumer price index, all urban consumers.
Not the county members. So Gavin Henderson, Lyon County Community Development Director. Make sure you get the staff for the assist, but just wanted to put together a brief presentation for a solid waste franchise agreement 2025 rate adjustments. No, did it work? Perfect. So just some brief background information on the solid waste franchise agreement. So it was effective date was March 1st, 2024. It'll remain in effect for 10 years. This agreement covers a comprehensive range of services, including residential service, commercial service, roll-off container service, transfer stations, recycling service, which are rolled into transfer station services, and emergency management. I do want to make note that the franchise area means the unincorporated areas of Lyon County and should not include the incorporated cities that are currently in Yerington, just so everyone's clear moving forward. So moving forward, so this text is directly pulled from the franchise agreement. So it's section 6.9. So I'll just go through, kind of summarize the information. So the initial rates for services are established in Exhibit A. I didn't attach Exhibit A in the PowerPoint, but it is the base rate per month in the table moving forward. So it's also provided in the backup material that Waste Management provided us. So rates are subject to an annual adjustments based on the consumer price index for garbage and trash collection as published by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The base period for calculating those adjustments is set to September 2024, and the first adjustment will take effect on January 1st, 2025. And that's why we're having this presentation. So importantly, to protect against excessive increases, any rate adjustment is capped at a maximum of 6%, even if the CPI exceeds that figure. This approach ensures that the rate changes reflect economic conditions while maintaining predictability and fairness for both waste management and the communities they serve. So moving forward, we'll just get right to the 2025 annual rate adjustment. So the rate adjustment establishes a increase of 3.79% to the current rates. These are calculated based on that section 6.9 of the solid waste franchise agreement. Those calculations are represented in the table. The table was provided to us by Waste Management. And is also included in the backup material. The adjustment was determined using the consumer price index again for garbage and trash collection as specified in section 6.9. The adjustment specifically identifies the CPI at the month of September 2023 and September 2024. This is not an annual based calculations. This is specifically looking at those September month values from year to year. Importantly, the increase still remains below the 6% cap established in the agreement to protect against excessive changes. Once again, these new rate increases will become effect January 1st, 2025. So overall, the proposed rate increase of 3.79% complies with section 6.9 of the solid waste franchise agreement. The adjustment is based on the CPI percentage again change for the month of September, again from 2023 to 2024, and does not exceed that 6% cap as outlined in the agreement. So the increase meets all contractual requirements and will take effect January 1st, 2025 as specified in the agreement. And then I did include the tables, which are again provided in the backup material. So So as you can see in this table and the subsequent tables, they outline the proposed rate increases based on those provisions outlined in section 6.9. These tables provide a clear breakdown of new rates compared to the current rates for residential, commercial, and those other service categories. I've just gone through and highlighted the new base rate per month and then the new total rate per month. This one specifically for residential service. We get to commercial services, roll-off service, the transfer stations, Silver Springs and Sutro. Silver Springs is still ongoing, moving forward towards construction. And then emergency management. With that being said, is there any questions, concerns, comments?
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I should know the answer to this, but I don't. The franchise fees are based on a percentage, so those go up a little bit too.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay. Commissioner Hendricks, anything? Nope. Okay. Thank you. We will move on to 18, advisory of the boards for possible action. 18A. Appoint up to 4 members to the room tax board with terms expiring December 31st, 2026. Like we have appointment up to 4, and we have 3 people that have applied. So
Jason Lambert, Lyon County Clerk Treasurer. I'm just here to review, and first of all, I'd like to thank Nicole and Aaron for working so hard to keep these boards full and keep track of those for us. They really put in some time and effort in doing that, and I think it's awesome, and I greatly appreciate it. So we have 4 open seats. We have 3 applicants. I'm asking you to approve the 3 applicants for the room tax board under item A.
okay. So we have a fairly simple job here. It looks like 3 of them, based on their applications, look qualified. And any other input, any questions from the board? No questions? Yes.
Andrew Haskin, Lyon County Manager. So I do want to point out for this one, there are specific seats to be filled. So there's a recommendation in your board packet. Board chooses. Just wanted to make sure I mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
So we do have a recommendation that we can read from on this, and so I will look for
Did you do public on that?
Any other public comment on this appointment?
Chairman Hockaday, I'll make a motion then.
Okay, great.
To reappoint Jim Kepler as the commercial interest representative with term expiring December 31st, 2026 to the room tax board. Also to the room tax board, reappoint Deborah Skinner as hotel operations representative with a term expiring December 31st, 2026. And also to the Room Tax Board to appoint Scott Huntley as a member at large with a term expiring December 31st, 2026 to the Room Tax Board.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jacobson and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. So we will now move on to 18B. 18B for possible action, appoint up to 2 members as members at large to the Regional Transportation Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2026. Any input on
And
that?
18B is the same. There is a recommendation. And these are not specific. There are 2 members to be appointed to 2 open seats.
Okay. So any commissioner input on that? Public input on it? Seeing none, we'll move on with a motion on 18B.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Scott Hunley and Cody Wagner as members at large to the Regional Transportation Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2026.
Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Move on to 18C. For possible action, appoint up to 2 members as members at large to the Debt Management Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2026. Okay,
And 18C is the same. Both seats are at large. We had 2 seats and 2 applicants.
any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just probably more of a process question we've just appointed Scott Huntley to the Room Tax Board and also to the Regional Transportation Commission. And now he's applying for the Debt Management Commission. That just seems an awful lot to me for one person.
And there's no, I guess, laws against him serving on those.
Well, there may be no
And
laws
he's
against it, but
interested.
it may not be good policy.
Well, yeah, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah.
There's no restriction of any type.
Well, I get that, but it's just bad policy to have one person on that many boards.
Yeah.
So I won't be supporting Mr. Huntley on this one.
Any input from the county manager or from Ms. Lopez? Anything on that?
Aaron Lopez for the record. I did also want to point out that he did go on to the Mason Valley Vector Control, is it? Weed Control, thank you. I know I was getting that wrong. So he is on that one, but as far as I'm aware that there isn't a stipulation because they do not advise to each other. We don't have an internal policy that states that he can't. But if you like, we can postpone his appointment to that one, reach out to him to see if he would also like to be appointed and bring the item back if that would make you guys more comfortable.
Yeah, it's difficult. I kind of thought the same thing when I saw his name, but they don't meet at the same times. There's no
And plus,
conflict.
For the education and his background and stuff, for serving on those boards, I think is applicable rather than leaving the seat empty.
And I did notice that he had a good background and, the fact that that the person can make all those different boards, there's no conflict in the agendas or in information. I don't have a problem if he wants to do that for the county. Not a problem for me. Anything further from the commissioners on that? Any public comment on that? Then I will look for a motion.
Move to appoint Deborah Ewing and Scott Hunley as members at large to the Debt Management Commission with terms expiring December 31st, 2026.
Do I have a second?
Before we do a second,
yeah.
with what Commissioner Henderson has stated, should we do separate motions on each one, do each one individually?
Yes, I agree with that. Say yes.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to appoint Deborah Ewing as a member at large to the Debt Management Commission with the term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Okay, do I have a
Second.
All right. So for Deborah Ewing, we have a motion from Commissioner Hendricks and a second from Commissioner Jacobson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So she is appointed. And then we'll look for a motion for Scott.
Chairman Hockaday, I'll make a motion to appoint Scott Huntley to a member at large to the Debt Management Commission with a term expiring December 31st, 2026.
Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, so motion by Commissioner Jacobs and a second by, or Jacobson, and a second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed?
Nay.
Nay noted, and there's still motion passes 3-1. Nicely done. Let's move on to 18D. For possible action, discuss and appoint up to 3 members to the Board of Equalization with terms expiring December 31st, 2028. And for Chairman Hockaday to designate one of the 5 members to serve as Chair of the County Board of Equalization, NRS 361.340 parentheses 4. Okay.
And 18D as well, there are, let's do a recommendation in the attachments that we accept and appoint the applications of Elmer Bull, Bruce Bertolowitz, and Wendy Pagunis.
Okay, they are all on the board now.
Yes, and it is asking for you to also, if maybe a second vote on who
Right.
could chair that committee.
Right, and we can, we'll move on with the appointments for these 3, and then I will select a chair. So, but he's had a chance to look at the applications, and we will go forward with, commissioner questions or comments. Public input. Seeing none, then I will look for a motion on the appointments to the board.
Mr. Chair, I move that we appoint Elmer Bull, Bruce Bartolowitz. I probably butchered that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bartolowitz.
Bartolowitz and Wendy Fagundes to the Board of Equalization with terms expire at December 31st, 2028.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Henderson, and second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. And after doing some research on this, person that was interested in being chair is Leandra Carr. So I will select her as, or designate her as the chair of that board. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 18E for possible action. Appoint up to 5 members to the Lyon County Fair and Rodeo Board with terms expiring December 31st, 2028. And we have 5 people that are applying.
Aaron Lopez for the record, just wanted to mention that the 5 applicants are also reapplying.
Okay.
And
All
also letter of
reapp,
recommendation.
all reapplying to the board, which is good. We keep the experience. Any questions from the commissioners? No questions from the public? If not, I'll look for a motion for these 5 individuals.
Chairman Hockaday, I'll make a motion to appoint to the Lyon County Fair and Rodeo Board with terms expiring December 31st, 2028. Lisa Tibbles, Donna McDonald, Curtis Jordan, Derek Haas, and Michael Georgie.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Jacobson, second by Commissioner Hendricks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, commissioners, getting through that one. 19, we're going to look for agenda requests. Do I have any requests? Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. This probably won't be for me, but I think based on the public comment we heard this morning, there needs to be an agenda item about the library board. For you guys to discuss how you want them to operate.
Okay, good input. Anything?
Yes. I have request for the second meeting in January. I believe that's the 16th, that we have a presentation from Fire Chief Brian Bunn from North Lyon Fire. And I know he's serves in the public safety sector. I don't know if where we can put him on the agenda, but if it could be sooner rather than later, that's fine. But I said I would do what I can, but I can't guarantee anything. And then I've had a couple questions here, and I'm not expecting this the first or even second meeting in January, but just maybe and I don't know if a report or what this would be, but a report on the 5-cent diesel tax, kind of where that money goes in the county, and kind of what area of the county that we get, if we can break that up into what parts of the county where we get that money. And then there's a communication advisory board, and I'm just curious if that is up and running or if it's not. So I guess those three things. Thank you.
Okay. And I don't have any requests at this point. Anything further? Then we will move on to our final commissioner comments. Commissioner Jacobson.
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Henderson. Commissioner Hendricks.
Nope, not this.
And I have a congratulations for Marianne and Andy. That sounds like you have your 58th wedding anniversary. Been hanging in there for a while. That's good.
That long?
They were married the year I was born.
Let's not, no, let's not get too much.
I just had to throw that in, Andy.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was a good year.
because my wife and I are hitting 53 next year, so it's getting there too. Anything further? All right, then we're going to go on to our final public participation. No action will be taken on any item until it's properly agendized. It's anticipated that we'll have public participation at this time. And citizens wishing to speak during public participation are asked to state their name for the record and will be limited to 3 minutes. Do I have any final public participation? Seeing nothing on Zoom and nobody standing up in the room here, we are going to move on to adjournment at 11:33.